Good evening for networking. Welcome, just laughing because I knew I'd wink and Wes told me to. Welcome to an interesting stream I'm going to do tonight. What I usually do on a Sunday night is post in here and say, where are you going networking this week? Because I'm genuinely intrigued and I've actually got a lot of networking to do this week. And what I usually do, I'm just checking I'm live in here, I am. What I usually do on a Sunday night is ask you where you guys are going, what you're up to, no matter where you're going, for networking or any other networking meetings that you go to. And that's what I usually do. But tonight, I thought I'd get some great tips and advice for networking, because that's what I always try and do from my social media, is just give loads of value, because I genuinely believe that's why I'm here. No bull, just beef. I just try and give as much as possible. So that's what I try and do in all the content that I do. And tonight, instead of just saying, where you go networking, I thought I'd ask someone for some really awesome networking tips. Now, I could ask, the odd bloke I met in for networking, or some woman I met last week, or I could ask an international global authority and best-selling author what he does at networking meetings. I could ask someone who many of you know as an expert in network marketing how he built a huge network marketing business over the last 2 decades with networking. I could ask someone who's never had a real job how they make the most out of networking. And I could ask someone who was inducted into the Direct Selling Hall of Fame last week in America. I could, and I can, and that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to be speaking to Wes Linden, who I think will be on live very shortly. So if you've got any questions about networking and you've always wanted to get the best answers, then this is what you need to do. Type your comments right down here now. I will keep an eye on them, and I'll ask Wes what the answer to those questions are, because yeah, sure, I know a little bit about networking, but why don't we ask a bloke that's built a business over the last 2 decades? Wes, I can see your notification. I'm going to bring you in a second. The reason I want to chat to Wes is a few months ago, Stephen Thomas, also a huge authority in networking, messaged me and said, Todd, would you mind giving me your opinion on my latest book? And I said, yeah, cool. Where is it? Is it on Amazon? He said, no, I want you to read the transcript and give me your thoughts on it. And I was like, really? Cool. I thought that's brilliant. And I completely missed the point that he actually wanted me to write my thoughts on his book and put it in his book. And then it turns out he's written it with Wes Linden. I tell you what, I've never read a book from cover to cover. I don't think I've ever, I'm just making sure I'm not lying, I've never read a book cover to cover. And I read this book cover to cover. But this isn't a sales pitch about his book. This is purely to give you guys loads of value, because I know that that's actually what Wes does. So you've probably seen Wes pop up in here occasionally, quite a few times in fact. Usually in the comments, he adds a lot of value. We certainly had a bit of sparring with a few dodgy Bitcoiners last month, or in fact, it was about 6 months ago. And I just thought, let's have a good quick chat with him. So I'm going to bring him in now. If you've got any questions about networking, then please do. Chuck. Here we go. I hate this bit, I really do. Come on, Wes. I'm praying for you right now. It's coming in. There he is. Hey, man.
How are you, man? All right.
I'm all right. Look at that. It worked first time. That's a sign. This is going to be a good stream. It's a sign.
Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm always a little bit in awe. I get a bit, happy when I know that you text me or message me. I feel like it's like getting a message from Gareth Southgate or someone really cool. Like I've never had a message from Gareth Southgate, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I'm honoured that you think that. Are you in the UK at the moment? Are you back in the UK now?
I'm in the UK. Yes, indeed.
Well, because you are probably one of the most jet-setting people on my Facebook.
Well, I like to travel. Yeah.
Is that because of your business, or is that just because that's what you want to do?
Well, mostly because it's what I want to do. I mean, my actual network marketing business that I'm involved with is not international, doesn't go outside the UK.
Okay.
But I like that kind of concept of living first and then kind of working, and so I like to get away, as do you. First time I ever spoke to you, we were somewhere in Spain in a network marketer's
villa. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I don't know if that's out there, but it's out there now. It's fine. It was probably on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and everything else. So this isn't going to be about network marketing, but like, you are a prolific network marketer, aren't you? Like, you've been doing it. You've not been dabbling at it, have you? You've pretty much nailed it, and you've been in it for over 2 decades. Is that right?
Yeah, coming up to 21 years now, but
wow.
only with one company, which I have a huge amount of pride in. I know that people can't always find the right vehicle for them first time, same as they can't when they're setting up any type of business. But I've never been hugely keen on those people that seem to be in a different deal every 10 minutes.
Yeah. But I think that's why we get on, because I'm very, if I choose something, I take a long time to choose it, and then it's like I'm going all in on this or not at all. And I know we're not going to mention names, but I know what you mean. We meet people that we think, yeah, there's another one, and they're doing something else and something else. Why is that? Why do you think people switch, and is that a successful strategy?
I know people that have had success with that. I feel it's that shiny object syndrome. People, network marketing has not done itself any favors. There's too much. There's always been too much of that kind of get rich quick overnight type of thing. And it's just simply not true. It doesn't happen. And yet people have false expectations when they start. They want success overnight. And they don't realize that overnight success can take 5, 10, 15 years. And of course, when they don't get it after 3 weeks or 3 days or 3 phone calls, they look for the next thing. And that, I think, is one of the real problems that network marketers have in a networking space in places like 4N, because people won't always take them seriously.
Yeah, and I think, do you know what? I think that transcends outside of network marketing. I think that's the same in business, relationships, life, dieting, all of it, isn't it? I gave a workshop the other week on social media, and I said to people in the room, this isn't going to be an overnight success thing, because the one thing I haven't hacked yet is humans, and they just seem to take a long time to get to do stuff. So I think it's a business thing. I just think it transcends across it. What do you think of the network marketing space like now compared to 21 years ago? Is it different? Are there commonalities through it?
I mean, when I started in it, I was 20 years old. I was just looking for an extra couple of £100 a month to help me through university. And yet all I could see, all the hype around it was get rich quick, look at my car, look at my watch and palace and all this kind of stuff, which either did or didn't exist, or was on credit, or whatever. I'd like to think that there's less of that now. I'd like to think that there's more people that are genuinely getting an extra few £100 a month that's helping them alongside their day job or business, and therefore it's giving them a lifestyle change. And I think we've moved perhaps out of the yuppie era altogether in terms of the country as a whole. And so I think people perhaps buy in more to that concept of making that extra few £100 a month to supplement what they're doing, rather than, oh wow, I found a vehicle that's going to make me rich overnight. So and I went to very early, within my first year or so, I started networking at a networking group that also has an N in it, if you get my drift. Got 3 letters rather than 2.
It's cool. We can mention it. It's fine.
No, I started at BNI, and I found network marketing, people either hadn't heard of it or didn't hold it in very high esteem. Whereas as the years have gone by, when you come across sensible networkers, people there's a lot of them now in 4N. They say, well, it's not for me. It's not something I want to do right now, but I respect it, and I can see its value. So I think the world has moved with us, and plus the gig economy has started to become a thing. People are doing their side hustles, whether that's their own little business on the side, whether that's building websites, whether it's selling cakes or whatever it might be, whether it's Uber driving, Airbnb, whatever it might be. There's lots more people, I think, are open to other streams of income, and network marketing should really fit into that space as one of those options.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying about the network marketing, because even just in the 5-6 years where I've been in business, where I've gone to proper network, and I used to run my own networking meetings, but I didn't realize they were networking, but that's not for now. And I have noticed a change there with the way people kind of treat or accept, as you said, network marketers. And I think that's changed quite a lot. And as you say, it's now become a side hustle. Certainly with utility warehouse, I a lot of people use it as just that extra income rather than you know, the route to a Mercedes Benz. Like, as you say, some of the you still see it. I still see it in my timeline, and I can spot people who have got bad training in whatever network marketing that they do. Would you say that networking, like obviously networking for your business, because it's network marketing, has absolutely built it? Could you have done it without networking? Is there a way to do that?
That's a really good question. Look, you know, if I looked at my overall business or team, there's certainly quite a few strands of that came from, you know, things other than networking. But there are some very strong legs, teams, businesses within my organization that came either directly through people I met through networking, or I met someone who met someone who met someone who then went networking and did well, or met someone else. So certainly networking has been a huge part of it. And, you know, whether it's, I've never looked at, you know, when you go to a networking group, I never looked at people as these are my prospects. I looked at these people are going to help me hopefully become advocates and help me find some people, introduce me to some people.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some network marketers go wrong. They're just trying to sell to the room.
I think that's where a lot of business people go wrong, Wes. I mean, I did that. I went to networking meetings. I went to 4 networking to get bums on seats at workshops, and I genuinely, and I had to laugh when I was reading your section in the book where it said that, you know, look to how you can help those people. And I thought, yeah, now I know this now. But when I started, I absolutely made that huge mistake of trying to sell to people right there and then writing it off as it was shit. It didn't. How was networking meeting? Rubbish. No one bought my stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the way that you talked about it there, where you're looking to help them, you kind of can't lose there, can you? That can't be a bad situation.
Yeah, and again, that comes from having a longer term view as to what your presence in the networking group is for. So if you're there to give value, if you're there to make friends for the sake of making friends, if you're there for to create unconditional relationships that don't depend on, well, I've given you this, so you've got to give me that. If you're just there to create value, see who you can help, see who you can support, along the way, you flick enough good coins in the wishing well or whatever it is, you're going to get stuff back. You don't know where it's going to come from. And I think Sarah, who's, I think, a great advocate for
amazing. Absolutely,
she's a really good utility warehouse distributor as well. You know, she just said they'd be interested, not interested in, which I think is a great way to look at it, to try and see who you can support, and inevitably people will support you back.
I think I'm going to play devil's advocate on it now. I'm going to take myself back 5 or 6 years, because what I would have said to you 5 or 6 years ago is like, well, that's all very well, Wes, but I've got to sell my stuff. And if I spend all my time helping other people, this is going to take longer to sell my stuff. And I need to sell my stuff because I'm in business. What would you say to that?
Yeah, and you know, I get that all the time in network marketing, because look, when I started in network marketing, I only had one style of prospecting, and that was basically arguing. You know? I tell people about what I did, they wouldn't be interested, and then we'd row about it for a while. That didn't work very well. So I then kind of adapted and had a new style, which was like begging. You know, just skip through the arguing and go straight for a pleading. And that didn't work either. And once you get over that desperation stage, that's what I think we have to help people, whether it's in network marketing or just in for any role, new small business owners who are excited about their thing, but they have to realize not everyone is going to be excited about what they're doing that minute. And so if we can develop that long-term understanding that this is a journey and it's going to take some time, and not everyone's going to be ready to get on the train when you want them to. And I think that's where you start to develop posture. And I always like to describe posture as meaning that when you care, ... but not that much. So you care, but you don't care so much that you come across as desperate and you come across as people just seeing you with pound signs in their eyes.
Yeah,
and you know,
those. Yeah.
Of course, sometimes people just have to go through that process themselves to realize it's not working for them. And then, thanks to people like yourself and the other regional directors and leaders around the country, people like Stefan Thomas, who's obviously been big part of 4N, and now, doing the books and the speaking. People like Michael Nagels, who I love watching his video updates, and Brad, of course, who's still out and about around the country,
still
foresighting
networking
and helping people.
Yeah.
If they can just help those people, people can be prepared to learn from those people, then they'll find themselves in the right place.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating how many have become so successful in networking, in utility warehouse, but still people kind of, and I'm guilty of this, got to find their own way, make all the same mistakes that you've probably written about in your best-selling books, and then ask for advice, and then they're like, "Why isn't it working?" Well, you know what I wrote about. You just do those things. No, yeah, but that kind of thing. I'm being distracted because my guy hunch has just tuned in. Hey, Tristan. He's on.
So you've got a bit of a bromance, you two.
Oh, massive, yeah. He came to my networking meeting and it destroyed me. it was the best 40 seconds ever, where he basically said that I'd been covering up my love for him forever. He had to come to Leamington Spa to meet me, and I've never been so red in all my life. It's so funny. Absolute legend, and he's smashing his personal branding.
Well,
so you got
hey, but listen, you've got to take some credit for that, because it was probably not. Maybe it was 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, where Tristan, by his own admission, had literally never used Facebook. He was one of those people that said, "Oh, I don't want to use social media. If I want to talk to people, I'll meet them face to face." And of course, there's a big part of our world of networking that's about. But he had not added social media at all into his brand building. And you did a 1.5 hour, 2 hour.
We just hooked up on Skype, didn't we? Yeah,
and helped him at least move from first base, and as you say, he's smashing it now. He's got thousands of followers, lots of speaking gigs and stuff. So you were a big part of that, though.
Oh, thanks. No, and it was awesome. I loved that session. It was really good. But I love watching people sort of get it, and I guess you probably get the same thing. So it's been like 2 decades since you've been doing it. And obviously some big stuff's turned up in 2 decades, like social media, and the internet's become more of a thing. Smartphones have become in everyone's pocket. Are they the biggest changes to networking as a whole and your business?
Well, to me, they're another opportunity to meet people and to build relationships and have connections. They're not going to overtake it. They're still going to be a big part of eyeball to eyeball, face to face. People having a pint and a curry and all those different things, and just getting to know each other. Of course, that's going to be a big part of it. But in the same way that 15 or 20 years ago, if you wanted to meet a partner, male, female, whatever, you would probably meet them in the pub or at a nightclub or at work or through a friend. Now there's another avenue, and that's online.
Yeah.
And it's no different to business. There's another avenue where people can meet people, they can connect, they can start to build friendships and relationships, and respect for each other, and want to do business with each other. And I'm, through the 4N community, there's loads of people that I actually think I know, but then I realise I've never actually met.
And this is the theme of this group, and we do come against a lot of friction, and you're a great help at times, even though we don't tell you to be, because you just get it. That Michael and I and Brad and the rest of the HQ team genuinely wanted this community to be the pub after work. And we're constantly being told, why are people asking stupid questions? Why are we talking about this? Why is no one wearing a frigging tie? And it's like, this is the pub after work. Can you honestly tell me that you talk business 24/7 in a business way, and you never just ask someone whether they like cats or dogs, or whether you ask them what they thought of Gogglebox last night, or whether you ask them about whether they like almond milk or oat milk? And I know some of the questions in here are sometimes totally pointless. But I know that you're a bit of a comment warrior. You're in the comments, and I'm in there as well. There's some genuine relationships being built in there off the back of, like you said earlier, currying a pint, that kind of conversation.
Yeah, totally. And, this is a very unique community. I've not seen a community like this, really.
Unique.
Yeah. No, but I mean that as a compliment. And I've run a forum for Utility Warehouse for, 7 or 8 years now. We don't have as many. We've got 9,000 people in there, not as many as in this group. But we've tried to have that type of approach as well, and it's very unique what you've got. And I think because people get to meet each other, spend time together, but then they go home and, you know, they can see each other online, they can learn about each other online. Then there's many people that don't go to the groups, but they're still part of the community. I think it's really unique in that respect.
Yeah.
But one thing, and this is, I'm going to get my soapbox.
Go for it, Wes. Go on, let's do it. Let's get it out.
Yeah. One thing that always surprises me, and I know you pick up on this, and I know Brad does, I know Adam does as well, and Michael, that sometimes it's not just the pub after work. Sometimes there is actually people genuinely looking for business or to get a referral or to get someone to help them with something. And I did a little bit of a social experiment yesterday. It's a bit naughty. I've actually taken it off now because I don't want people to go back and look at it and then, because this wasn't about catching individuals out or anything like this. But I came on the group yesterday and said, I need a two occupations that I just knew there'd be a load of people who could fulfill that need. Now, it doesn't matter whether I'm looking for 25 business cards to be printed, or as it could be, I mean, I kind of know the people at Utility Warehouse. It could have been to have all of their stuff, whatever that stuff is. I think I might have given a clue away already, but it could have been a really, really big gig, and there might have been 50 comments, lots of people recommending people.
Yeah, which is fine, right?
Rare. Yeah. I think it's brilliant, but there was probably only 2 of those people that actually went to the effort of not just recommending them, but like putting a screen print of, here's some work that this person did for me. I really recommend it. So I thought that was brilliant. That drew my eye straight away, rather than just kind of dropping a name and running. But I understand people are on the move and all that stuff. But here was the other thing. I got 5 messages through. I had several people go, yeah, I could help you. Just drop me a message. And I don't know. I think surely, I don't mean this disrespectfully. Please, if you're one of those people, this is not having a go at you directly. I could have picked any profession and it would have been the same. But out of the 50 or so people that were tagged, I only had 5 people bother to personal message me. 2 people sent me friend requests, or 3, I think, who didn't back it up with a message. And I think, well, why? Like how, you know, 5 messages. Now, here's an interesting thing. 2 of them were literally one line that said, I understand that you want X. And that was literally it. Nothing about, hey, my name's so-and-so.
Yeah, but you want something. You should just buy it. They've got it.
Yeah. We've not met before. Nice to meet you. Or, you know, I'm based up here. Where are you? Here's my website. Here's our portfolio. Whatever. Nothing. One of the guys actually did a pretty good job. And one of them is someone that is a hugely outspoken and negative voice about network marketing.
Okay.
And they
so
they
must know who you are.
Well, they will, because we've been in the same comment threads before. And I'm not saying everyone has to say network marketing is the best thing in the world just in case someone wants to buy from them. But like, really, I feel like you kind of shot yourself in the foot there, because you criticize it and slag it off, but then when you might, I mean, anyway. So there was just a whole load of lessons there. It's like, why? I was a gift horse. Why are people not actually properly engaging, trying to make contact and actually say something that makes sense to somebody that might want to buy from them? What's your thoughts on this?
I think I see it a lot, and I see it on LinkedIn a lot as well, and I'm sure you do. That when people are tagged in a post, they'll just passively like it, or they'll, you know, I've done this kind of thing before. I've asked for advice, and very few people go to the inbox. And then the same thing. The people who go to the inbox just presume you are absolutely ready to hand over your credit card. And they're like, yeah, come on, let's do business. And you're like, well, who are you? I don't know who you are. And you can't speed it up. You can't suddenly speed up the relationship thing. And I do find that people on social media and the internet do kind of forget that they're talking to a human being. And they forget that in a room, they wouldn't do that. In an actual room, they wouldn't do that. And I've always said this, social media is the same as a networking meeting. It's the same as the pub. You just wouldn't behave like that in a room. So why is it any different online? In fact, it's probably worse online, because then you get this message when you got them, they're in, you know, black and white. So you miss any sort of sarcasm or humor or friendliness about it. It's just a black and white message, and I just think it is common in the comments, and it's certainly been common in there. And I see it in this community a lot, because a lot of people do ask in this community, I'm looking for recommendations for this, and this. And the tagging fest starts, and I get tagged and stuff. And I will, reply and say, thanks to the person for tagging me in. And I'll share a link to my website, and I'll say, what are you looking for? And I had a look at your post, and not one person asked you what specifically about your topic, we won't say what it is, that you were looking for. They were just like, I can do it. Yeah. Do what? You don't know what you're asking for. And I find it really strange. But I think, do you think...
I was going to say, the other thing, even the people that are doing the referring, and it's nice that they did it, but I'd have thought maybe one person, and this is something that Stefan and I talked about in the book, that the person that referred and then went out their way to send me a message and say, hey Wes, I saw that you were looking for X, I've recommended so and so, and the reason I recommend them is because they did this job or that, blah, 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 blah. They could have really won that person the business, and then they would have made themselves very popular with that, and then
that's a really important point you've made there, is that when you refer, you need to do a really good marketing job for the person you're referring, because when they get the business, that's when networking works. So when I introduce someone on email, it's not just like CC dump, they need to talk. It's always like, like I introduced the guy who does our printing. I said, this is Raj, he's absolutely fantastic. He's super quick, he's done this, he's done that. I think so-and-so. And I always say in the thing, look after each other, I respect you both, and make a bit of fun out of it. And try and start the conversation in the thing. But I've been recommended in inboxes where it's just like what you've had. It's just like dump, run, move on. And you think, I don't feel too special right now. And also, this isn't going to be great now, because we're like, oh, hello. It's like a blind date gone wrong kind of thing. It's very strange.
And that's the thing with networking, that, I always try to make myself like the go-to person in the community, where, people would trust and respect my opinion enough to ask me, well, what do you think? We're looking for a driving instructor. Who do you think? We're looking for a plumber. Who do you think? We're looking for an electrician. Well, surely that's a good place to be, because then I'm doing lots of referring. People are actually taking those referrals seriously. And then the back end of that, of course, I become someone that people want to refer to as well. And that, it becomes a win-win-win.
Yeah. So the book you and Steph did is called Win the Room, and I absolutely love it. I know I endorsed it, but I endorsed it properly. I actually read the thing cover to cover on my patio in the sunshine. Just so happened my daughter was asleep. It was just all perfect. And I sat and read this thing cover to cover. I say cover to cover. It was a Word document on my iPhone because it was that fresh at the time. And I love it. I love the way that you and Stefan have come together, because you guys are kind of like a power of force in networking with both what you've both done, and huge respect to you both. I love the book. And I think I said something along the lines in the book of, this needs to be handed out when people go for bank loans and stuff, because it's like the thing, it's like the oracle. But you called it win the room, and I really like that. How do you win the room, and what is winning the room? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, it is obviously aimed at networking, or people that do networking, particularly, obviously there's a big slant towards network marketers that do it, but I think, as you say, it
resonated with me massively. Yeah.
But I think it's also about people that, even if they're not doing networking, but they're in the local church group or running group or school gates or whatever it might be, that they become someone that's a go-to person, that's seen as a person with some influence who people trust. Because I think, as we know, when you know, like, and trust people, or know, love, and trust people, you're more likely to get business and be able to refer it. So there's that phrase, work the room, which personally I get why people say it, but personally I find
I think it gears people up. No, it gears people up the wrong way. I think that's when it goes. That's how I felt 5 or 6 years ago. Work the room, and go in and work the room, get what you want out of it, take what you want from it. Yeah. Whereas what you do is give to the room, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and therefore that's how you end up winning the room, by being someone that gives and gives unconditionally, that builds those relationships without expecting something in return straight away or overnight. And I think that was the concept, really, that you can win any room you're in just by being, a decent person that people like, who, it doesn't mean you're going to refer everyone, or you're going to be able to refer everyone, But if people know your intent is right, if people know that you want to help, you know, one of the things I always suggest to people in our business, and you know, it's something we talked about in the book as well, is
It's Tristan.
Tristan there said he prefers
Tristan
to
and Michael's
flirt
comments. It works, Tristan, trust me.
But you know, is a couple of things. When, you know, if you're in networking, or you want to just be a go-to person and you're a network marketer, let's say, when you do an appointment with someone, there is no harm in saying, listen, I'm part of a local group of business people and professionals and tradespeople, and you know, if there's anyone you ever need, it's probably likely I'll be able to recommend you.
Yeah.
You know, when I was doing that in my earlier days in UW, I was probably coming into the group every week with 4 or 5 referrals, because people were saying, well, actually, we're about to move house, you know, a decent solicitor, or we, you know, or whatever. And then, of course, you think, well, if you move in house, you might also need maybe a cleaning company to come in, either for your incoming house or outgoing house. You might need a removal company, you might need a plumber, you might need, and you could then think of loads of other referrals for them as well that they didn't even think that they needed yet. And so, first of all, always be, you know, open about the fact you're part of a group of other professionals and business people, and who can you, is there anyone that they need an intro into? And I found that really useful. The other thing is, even if you don't know someone, so if I see something on Facebook that someone's saying, oh, I'm so excited, it's, you know, my 40th next month, I'd be thinking, not, oh, I wonder if I'm getting an invite. I'd be thinking, well, do they need a DJ? Do they need someone to make a cake? Do they need someone to print some invites?
Yeah.
So I drop them a message and say, hey, I see you having a party. It's fantastic. If there's anything you need to help with the organization, I can recommend a really good DJ and a really good printer, or whatever. That way, you are bringing business to your group or your community that wasn't necessarily there unless you asked for it. It's like finding the opportunities. And I think that work, doesn't matter whether you're in network marketing or what. If more people could do that in the 4N community, there would be tons more business. I know it's already a lot of business gets passed. There'll be tons more business.
See, I often walk into a networking room, and I go all over the country doing the foresight slot. I'm going to Birmingham breakfast tomorrow. I'm off to down the Southwest Expo on Wednesday, where Brad's speaking, to do the foresight slot at the big breakfast. So I move around a lot, and I've got this reputation with someone that goes around the network. And I always get introduced as, you've got to speak to Todd, he knows everyone. And that's seen as an asset. I'll speak to Todd. And they ask me for advice about networking, you know, how I've grown my group at Leamington Spa, whether I've had any business out of 4N. And also off the back of it, I've been to 350 just 4N meetings, let alone the others. So I know a lot of people. So I actually get a lot of conversations to just, like, you know, sort of, you know, pick the bones of me, really, like, what can I get out of Todd? Which actually is great for me. So actually taking that into the room and being very open about that, and saying, sometimes I've said in my 40 seconds, I know a lot of people. I've been in for networking for 4 years. If you need any help with your groups and stuff, and I often get one-to-ones with people who run the group. Of course, they're quite influential because they meet more people. And I think a lot of stuff that Steph talked about in the book is, you know, get there early, speak to the team, get involved with the people who know everyone else. You know, you can shortcut it quite a lot, really, but genuinely just being useful and being helpful. And I think in my one-to-ones at 4 Networking, so you get 3 10-minute one-to-ones for people that are watching that are not in 4N, I spend more time chatting to them about what they do, or the whole 10 minutes telling people how I can help their business with what I do because they've asked me to, than the whole pitch fest thing, which I really, really don't like. I end up just chatting to them about making the most of 4N and stuff, because it's just been brilliant. Robert Leeds asked a really interesting question that I'm going to pose to you, Wes. He says he's an introvert. I don't think Robert's an introvert, but he says he has. Have you got any top tips for introverts on how to get the conversation started?
Well, if Robert is an introvert, he's doing well, because I see him doing videos now and starting a lot of conversations online, and also doing pictures of himself lifting weights and stuff, which is always puts you in a compromising position, if you're an introvert, I suppose. But look, we have a lot of people in our business as well, in network marketing, who would consider themselves introverted. Believe it or not, I would consider myself introverted, but I've just taught myself that actually being open to talking to people tends to help you a bit better than hiding kind of in the corner, which is what I probably did for the first at least 3 or 4 BNI meetings I went to, and probably followed that up with quite a few of the other networking groups similarly as well. And actually that's a point that about avoiding cliques that you see someone you're comfortable with, then you go and talk to them because you don't want to go and talk to other people. As easy and obvious as that seems to get you through the meeting, it isn't going to help you because you're not going to be meeting the new people. But I always found, introvert or not introvert, the more questions you can ask, asking people how you can help them. What is it you think I could do to help you? What kind of referral are you looking for? What kind of introduction are you looking for? You know, how do you find is the best way for people to introduce you or package you or whatever? Just asking those questions and being interested. Eventually, people are going to ask you what you do, or they're going to want to, and then they're going to want to recommend you as well, because they actually feel like you care. You're interested in what they do.
Yeah, it's interesting when you take an interest in someone else, they start to talk about it because it's their favorite topic. And I think that it's something I need to do a lot more. I'm a bit of a show off, tend to start talking about myself, but I often get asked stuff and I start, you know, chatting away. But it's really interesting when you ask someone about themselves, how easy that conversation starts. And it doesn't have to be, did you come far? Do you come here often? All that shit.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually ask them about a business, the thing I like about asking them about their business and who's the best referral for them is it creates a great conversation, but then you learn loads about them so that you really can refer them. And then when you're following up, you've got loads to follow up with them, you know, to follow up with them with. In Win the Room, both you and Stefan talked about using social media, which obviously I love to pieces, as part of the networking. Do you and Steph use it the same, differently, or do you use it in between networking meetings to sort of build your networks?
Yeah, I mean, Steph's been really smart with it as well. You know, if he can look up a group and then work out who's in that group, whether it's because they print a membership list or whatever, he'll try and make some connections before he even gets there. Yeah. I mean, makes it nice and easy to walk into a room then, doesn't it? Yeah. But certainly just connecting with people so you can learn about them and knowing some of the human stuff as well. So that, you know, if I'm going to go into a one-to-one or have a phone conversation with someone, I think it's much nicer to be able to say to them, oh, how was that skiing lesson you did the other week? Or that, you know, I saw your son won a swimming trophy or something along those lines. Yeah. And social media is a great...
It's so easy.
It's so easy. There. People are sharing the information with you. Yeah. Why not pick up on it and then, you know, make that part of your conversation?
I mean, I'm a very proud dad. You know, as of 50 months ago, I became a dad again. And people always say, oh my God, your daughter's gorgeous. How do you think that makes me feel straight away? I'm like, oh, you know, they've got me. Yeah. What do you want? You know, it's a great conversation starter, but it is so easy. Now, I know I shared so much you probably couldn't miss it, but I think I really like what Steph does with a bit of, you know, it gets his magnifying glass out and, you know, strategically goes through that. And I do it afterwards as well. So LinkedIn and Facebook after a networking meeting, in for networking, you get the attendance list. So you see who's been there. Like, and if you click on it on the new website, you can go to the thing and find their LinkedIn, press it, and it takes you to it, and you can connect. It's actually really easy. It's actually really easy to do. But even when I give a foresight telling people how to do that, people don't do it with me. And I don't know why they don't connect. I don't know why people don't see the value. I don't see why people don't follow up, because I find that fascinating. And I don't see why people don't connect on social media, even when you tell them it's such a great thing. And they've asked your advice. And you probably get this as well. People ask your advice about networking. You give them your advice about networking, and then they don't do it. And you think, why did you ask the thing? Is it because it's too hard? Or, you know,
it's when you go to a networking group, so I know people think, all right, so I'm going to go to the 4M between 7 and 9 or whatever time it might be, the lunchtime one. That isn't the job done in that box. That's not it. That's just the start of the conversation. Our jobs collectively is to take that conversation on beyond that. And social media is a huge way to do that, connecting with people through their preferred medium. And I think being prepared to, you know, I'm not very good on LinkedIn, but if someone is, being prepared to connect with them there.
Michael's just said this community is great because a lot of people, and this is what I usually do on a Sunday night instead of chatting to you, I'll usually say, I'm going here. And I actually get loads of one-to-ones booked up, and the community here is great. I'm going to 4N Bracknell on Thursday. Who's going? And it's like, me, fancy a one-to-one. Okay. And then you know who they are, and you can check them out and have a better conversation. I think it is really, really simple to do. But most people don't do it.
And that's, you know, something I admire about you, and I know there's others, lots of the other well-established people within 4N will have this view that they're not picking and choosing who their one-to-one's going to be. They're not thinking, oh no, I don't think you could bring me the right business, or you're not going to know big businesses, or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of people actually get, if I can speak up for network marketers here, if I can, where they get them wrong. If you look at someone as, oh well, she's just the Forever Living girl, or she's just the Avon girl, or he's just the utility warehouse guy. You don't realize that they're part of a community of tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And within utility warehouse, there is almost nothing I need to go outside of utility warehouse for. If we got a dog from Hungary about 5 months ago. It was it was well bred but part rescue, because there'd been some problems with the first owner, and there was all this disaster over their kennel club registration. And guess what? Someone in utility warehouse is a Crufts judge, and her husband is the president of the kennel club. Wow. There we go. Easy. If you find that person over, it doesn't matter what you need, and of course they help to sort it. And that's why I think sometimes people miss a real trick where they judge network marketers too quickly, because they don't realize who they know, who they're going to be the outlet for. Yes, maybe they're not going to need your accountancy services or your solicitor's firm or your whatever else, but they might know some people whose husbands or wives run some big businesses and do.
Yeah, well, I speak to a lot of people in my industry, so I will speak to a lot of marketers, digital marketers, social media marketers, but I see a lot of people kind of avoid me sometimes. Oh, I don't want to speak to Todd because he does the same thing. I'm like, no, I refer to you people all the time, and I'm also interested in what you do, how you do it, and refer that way. But also, I know that Michael Nagels, who's on now, goes to a lot of for networking meetings. Quite obviously, it's part of his gig, and he'll stand up and he'll say, I'm the network leader for networking. If you want help with for networking, blah blah blah. And you see a lot of people think, I don't need help with for networking. Why? That guy goes to more networking meetings than any of you. And I get this, Mike Garner, who's the longest standing for networker, and he's been to my meeting a few times, and you look and you think, why hasn't he got all these 3 one-to-ones? Like, he's been to more networking meetings than anyone. He knows everyone in this network. Just get to know him, get chatting with him, and you just get friendly with people for the sake of it. Yeah. You just never know. You just never know where it's going to be.
Yeah. Something else actually about social media where I think, again, people miss a trick. If you've used someone in your network, in your community, if you've used their service, I think you should be shouting about it and sharing it on your Facebook page, also sharing it into the community as well. But, I ordered some bread off Jacob,
yeah.
Right? Now, I've got to be honest, I've watched Jacob's journey the last year or year and a half. I see he is so enthusiastic about what he does, so infectiously. I was like, oh my God, I've got to order that 5 loaf pack or offer he's doing. I've got to order it, even though I'm trying not to eat bread right now. But he made me want to do business. He went, now I don't even have to, I know it's going to be really nice. And I will absolutely do a post just saying, oh, I'm so pleased to get this through the post this week, do a picture of it. It was, it tasted great. And even though I'm trying to cut out, I can't stop now, or whatever.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants more,
See, at home,
going to get him some business.
We have a production line at home. We've got a glass table at home, which now we've got a little girl. We don't eat dinner. We just, like you're holding a baby and eating, so we don't use the table. But when she was born, and obviously still now, we get sent loads of stuff, usually cactuses. I mean, my office is full of cactuses. But we always put it on the table so it can have a photo taken. So it can be put on social media at the prime time with the best angle to tag them in with the hashtag if it's in the right place. We make a real point of doing that because it's like someone's taken the time to send us something for free, but also maybe someone's taken the time to do something amazing. And you're right. People should shout about people more in there rather than, I'm looking for an XXX. I'll just tag them in. Well, that's rubbish, And I saw a post in here earlier. I just didn't have time, and someone was looking for branded pens, and by the time I got to it, there was like 50 comments. And I'll always recommend Matt Richardson because the pens he did for us are fantastic, and I've got the picture saved in my phone for that moment because it's got my branding on, and I'll show it. And I say, Matt did my pens. Here they are. They're fantastic. They're German engineered. They're exactly what he wanted, and he was a deal. Rather than just tag Matt Richardson, it's just dull, isn't it?
But you see, the point there, of course, is that you do that enough, there's going to be other people wanting to do business with you, to impress you, because they're going to want that
That
kind
is
of
actually
accolade from you.
That is actually happening. Yeah,
It does.
but it does. Michael, it's actually cactuses. There's two ways of saying the plural of cactuses. It's cacti and cactuses. So there. What have you got? He's looking. Is it a dog or a cactus?
It's a dog.
This is a tense moment.
Since I'd met him, I better bring
Yay!
him in. He's having a sleep, so he's looking a bit. This is Kobe. He is a sausage dog.
Joe's going to love that. She loves sausage dogs. And he's all right now, is he? He's registered and he's healthy and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good boy. Yeah, he's just over a year old and he's loving life.
Amazing. Wes, it's been awesome to chat to you. And networking God. Your book is out, yours and Steph's book, Win the Room.
Yes.
Is it top of the charts? Is it a bestseller? Is it smashing records?
It has been, yeah. It is. I've actually, funny enough, I've got a copy here. I should just tell you, there is a limited supply of these, and
really,
when they've gone, there's another limited supply in a box underneath.
I bet you can't buy them with Stefan's signature in it though, and I've got one of those. That's it. I've got one of them.
But no, they are on Amazon. So it's on Kindle or it's on paperback as well. And I don't listen. You don't actually make any money out of books. That's not why we do it. I think the fact that there's a lot of network marketers who could do with some advice as to how to actually do networking better, and there's a lot of small business owners that I think can also do with some support as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if we can help that community, then actually the whole thing, everybody wins anyway, so we win eventually too. So
yeah, that's what I love about you. Actually, you just seem genuinely like you want to help people get better at networking, and I often see you in the trenches of the comments in this community, which is why I'm pleased we've finally got to chat properly. And you're just there to sort of help and guide people. You and I both got threatened by legal action last year by some Bitcoin scam MLM thing, which turned out to be a scam. And I just think it's brilliant that you're genuinely there helping people be better at what they do. So it's cool.
Thank you. Yes,
it's
and
awesome.
Likewise. I mean, the videos you do, and I always like the fact you start your video with a wink. It's very trademark.
If you watch the replay of this, I did it, and then as I winked, I bloody laughed because you WhatsApped me and said, make sure you wink. And I was like, I always wink. And then I winked, and now, you're going to be in my head every time I wink before a video now. But it's a trademark.
Can I just tell you, I do quite a lot of live videos as well, not on this community, but on my own page. And I found myself a little while ago winking, like doing a wink as well. I was like, why am I doing
subliminal.
that? It's because of you. So I had to stop doing it because I thought, well, that's his thing. I can't.
I don't even know when it became a thing, and now you've made it a thing. I didn't realize it was a thing. But I genuinely think when you're doing video, like even just short, sharp videos, you need to have a kind of a trademarky thing, and it's the same in networking. Like Stefan said earlier, 80% of his 40 seconds changes, but most of it's 20% of it's branded. And I think it's the same. It's the consistency all the time, the way that you do stuff. It just people know, this is the thing, this is what it's like. And I think it's really, really, really important to get that in. But it's got to be natural. It's got to be natural. Cool,
mate. Listen, you do a great job for this community, and
thanks, man.
For networking in general. And it was great of you to do the testimonial as well.
I was honoured, to be asked. Honestly, it was seriously cool to be in there, and it's amazing, good stuff. I genuinely, mean what I say. That should be handed out when people start business, because I wish I'd had it. It was brilliant. I had Get Off Your Ass by Brad Burton. I got off my ass, and I was like, now what do I fucking do? So I needed the next bit.
That's the other thing about. Sorry, we're still going on. We're trying to finish. I met Brad the other week in Orlando for the first time. Like, this is ridiculous.
You two jet setters.
No, literally though. We've been in the UK. We live in the UK, and yet we chatted loads and commented on each other's stuff.
I remember you, because he was out on holiday, wasn't he, with his family?
And he was there, and I was there, and we were like, let's meet, and we did. And after about 3 minutes, I thought, I've just realised I've never met him before. Like, it was one of those, and this is what this community does. Yeah. And if you do social well, you actually know people before you know people.
Oh, it's really powerful. I mean, I've got a quote I always use in foresights and training. It's good to meet you in the flesh. People say it to me all the time, and it's like, that's kind of weird. Like, I met a guy once at, I think it was Walsall Evening, and he said, oh my God, you're him. And I was like, are you talking to me? And he said, you're the guy on the videos. And I was like, what? are you sure? Just me? And he said, no, you're like famous or something. I went, no, I'm not famous.
Yeah.
I'm not. I said, are you in the foreign community by chance? Yeah. I said, you think I'm famous? It's just quite noisy in there. But he genuinely was like, wanted to talk to me, which was so powerful. Really
That's
powerful.
how I feel about you as well. That's what I said to you before. When I get messages from you, I'm like, woohoo.
You've just done that to make me blush because Tristan's betted you. That's what's happened.
No, not at all. We haven't collaborated on this.
Wes, thanks so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. This has been a
Pleasure.
brilliant live. I'm going to share it places and stuff. And
Great to talk
thanks
to you.
thanks to you, and thanks for everyone to tune in. See you in a bit. Have a great week at Full Networking. If I see you around, I'll see you there. See you later.